Hi there. Thank you for signing up with Asian International College. This is a video presentation to go through with you the PEI student contract. You should have received the contract by now. It would be good to have the contract with you as we go along. During the video, you should pause at regular intervals to make sure you have time to read up on the relevant section before we actually explain it. If you are ready with the contract, we'll proceed. A lot of you will be asking, just what is the student contract? For starters, PEI stands for Private Education Institution. This is a very important document that lays out the information and policies governing the relationship between us, the college, and you, the student. You should know that the processes and remedies are in place to protect you as a student. Primarily to minimize future disputes, what it does is to put in writing, in a legally binding contract, the communication the college had with you before you signed up. The contract is mandatory as directed by the Council for Private Education. The Council is a government agency in charge of all private institutions in Singapore. The exact copy of your contract has already been approved by the Council for use in Singapore for all our students. And this is why we are here. Before we actually go through the contract, there are 4 things you need to take note of. You should check that the contract you received has a standard 8 pages. There is no cover page and there are no blank pages, so you should have 8 full pages of content. You would also have received a separate document, Appendix 1. Please note that this appendix is not part of the 8 pages and you should have both documents ready as we go through. You'll need to also check that the details printed on the contract are correct. Look at page 1. Just make sure that your name and identification number is accurate. As we've said, this is a legally binding document. You must read and understand every term and condition of the contract before you sign off. Also, for the contract to be valid, the signatory must be above 18. For those of you under 18, please make sure that your parent or legal guardian is with you to go through the contract and this video together. Before we actually go through the contract, there are 4 things you need to take note of. The AIC PEI student contract has 3 main categories. The first category is cost information and fees. Secondly, refund policy. And last but not least, additional information that doesn't quite fall under any of those 2 categories. Let's start off with the first one, cost information and fees. You will find this information on page 1 under your personal details. Even though it's a short paragraph, you will find that most information are referenced in attached schedules. Schedule A, which starts on page 3, sets out all dates and time-related information that you should be concerned with pertaining to the delivery of your course. Pay special note to the course and qualification titles, course duration, and if you are doing it on a full or part-time basis. Within Schedule A, you will find a reference to Appendix 1. This is a separate document. Appendix 1 refers to the student schedule, which should have been given to you together with the student contract. Here, you will find the course commencement and completion dates, as well as the detailed schedule of your course. Course fees are listed in Schedule B, which can be found on page 5. Here, we list down the total breakdown of course fees payable, including taxes and the mandatory FPS insurance. If you had made the request to pay the course fees via installments, the exact payment schedule will also be displayed on page 6. It is very important that the installment plan is reflected here, so get in touch with us if you have one arranged but it is not reflected in your contract. Schedule C is located on page 7, a very comprehensive table of miscellaneous fees. It displays all optional fees that may be collected from you. when applicable and when the need arises. These fees are non-compulsory and non-standard, and may not be charged at all even until course completion. Pause the video to take some time to read through the various purposes listed on the left and the amount payable on the right. Okay. And with that, we have covered the portion on course information and fees. If you need time to digest the information we have just gone through, you should pause the video. Next up, we move on to our refund policy, which can be found on page 1, section 2. There are 3 basic categories for withdrawal refund. Let's look at the first. The policy for withdrawal due to non-delivery of course on the college's part refers to situations listed in section 2.1. If you choose to withdraw from the program as a result of any of these situations, you will be entitled to 100% refund of all course fees and miscellaneous fees paid to the college. You should, however, take note that registration fees will not be refunded in any situation. Another category of withdrawal is when a withdrawal is due to other reasons. In a nutshell, as long as any of the situations listed in 2.1 does not apply, the withdrawal falls under this category. Refunds for this category will be based on the table listed in Schedule D, page 8 of this contract. As long as the withdrawal is submitted more than 7 days before the course commencement date, 100% of course fees and miscellaneous fees will be refunded back to you. However, if the withdrawal is submitted within 7 days of course commencement, the college will not be legally obliged to refund any fees paid by you. The last category of a withdrawal is when it is submitted during the 7-day cooling off period after the signing of this contract. If you withdraw within 7 working days after the date that this contract was signed, the college will be obliged to refund you 100% of all paid course fees and miscellaneous fees. To aid your understanding, this 7-day cooling off period supersedes any other refund policies that are in place in this contract. If affected under this category, 100% refund will be applicable regardless of whether you have started the course or not. And that closes the portion on our refund policies. It is important that you fully understand the policies before moving on, as we find that it is the most important part of the contract students are most concerned about. Again, please do pause or replay portions of the video that you are unsure of before you move on. We will now go through some additional information that we feel you should know. These do not fall under any of the previous 2 categories, but are equally important in this contract. You can find this additional information on page 2 of the student contract. You should first know that this contract falls under the jurisdiction of the laws of Singapore. With that said, you should be alerted that if any specific part of this contract is deemed to be invalid by the laws of Singapore, it will not affect any other part of the contract. If a dispute arises and cannot be settled between us, either party can refer the dispute to the Council for Private Education. Again, CPE is a regulatory body in Singapore for private institutions. We would like to assure you that all information given by you to us will not be given to anyone else, unless you agree specifically in writing. Terms in this contract will apply if any other approved agreement is different from its terms. Either party may enforce rights under this contract as long as it continues, even if it is delayed. An English copy of this contract must be signed and will be applied from if there is a difference with any other translated copies. And with that, we have covered the entire contract. Before we end, I'm pretty sure that some of you will have some doubts about certain portions of this contract, and it is great that you do. To get them answered before you sign, drop us an email at enquiries@aic.edu.sg or simply give us a call at 6336-8335. And if all's good, Make sure to double check your name again here and sign in the correct column. Dates should be inputted in this format, but don't worry if you've already gone ahead with another. For those below 18, both you and your parent or legal guardian will need to sign off on this page as well. Once you are done, scan and upload the signed contract on this web page below this video.